If we abstract from Elastigirl's big bet, The Incredibles is... Who doesn't know The Incredibles? Every kid who grew up in the 2000s knows the story of this family. But in case if for some reason you don't, here's a quick 10 seconds recap. In this world, superhero activity became strictly prohibited, so now this family has to hide their powers and live boring, absolutely normal life. While the dad still didn't move on from the glory days. He's just like Heisenberg, who needs this feeling of drive, adrenaline and power.
I liked it. I was good at it. I was alive.
He can't live without it. He needs action, villains, problems in this life. Without them, he doesn't feel alive. So, for me, Incredibles is a great story, great animation, and big success, both in terms of art and business. But it's still a subject of debate. What's bigger, success of this film or Elastigirl's butt? But what if I told you that this story made more sense because of the 9/11 tragedy? What if I told you that being released after the 2001 and not in the 90s, this movie became a metaphor on the American society? A quick warning, this video is not one of those where I tell you how the plot or scenes were changed after the tragedy. No, if you came for that, you could turn off this video. And now, for those of you who want to know how 9/11 saved The Incredibles, let's start. Idea of The Incredibles came in 1993, which is really important, a year after release of the 1992 bestseller, The End of History and the Last Man. This book made a big impact on American society, and in my opinion, movies like American Beauty, Fight Club, American Psycho might be partially inspired by the ideas from this book. So, what this book was about? Basically, after the fall of Berlin Wall, collapse of Soviet Union, Francis Fukuyama argues that communism can never win, and the liberal democracy, on the other hand, is the most perfect, ideal society. America reached humankind's peak. Nothing will be better than that. As a result, it means there is nowhere to grow. Stagnation, no battles to fight, no ideological war, nothing new. End of history. Now, note that all the movies I mentioned above came out before the year of 2001, just like the first idea of Incredible, and in all of them the character has everything you could ever wish for. Beautiful house, apartment, a loving woman, job that provides. The character has everything, and yet this world is not for him. He doesn't feel alive. It's worse than the Groundhog Day, which also came out in 1993 by the way. So, long story short, in all these movies, the character needs something that makes them feel alive. And it doesn't matter how destructive this something might be. But Francis Fukuyama, the author of the book, didn't see one big important event, 9/11, the tragedy that returned USA to the state of ideological war. This event gave society the conflict. It prevented the end of history. And you know what? Unlike Groundhog Day, Fight Club, American Psycho and Beauty, The Incredibles didn't come out in the 90s, before the 9/11. No, it came out 3 years later, in 2004 instead of 1993. Bob Parr, Mr. Incredible, just cannot live in this perfect American world. There's no place for being a hero, no one to fight. He just has to exist. All he has now is the days of glory he misses so much.
Reliving the glory days is better than acting like they didn't happen.
Yes, they happened.
He needs a new threat, new war, new villain to feel alive again. Without that, his family is falling apart. He's in constant conflict with his wife and he lost the job, but when he kicks ass, almost dies from the giant robot, that's when his life starts to feel fulfilled again. He wants to bang his wife, play with his son, started training, and overall became more optimistic about life. And after becoming Incredibles as a family, where they fight the last battle together, they just became happier family. Life became interesting for all of them. I guess you could say that the film captures America's need for challenges and heroism after 9/11. By the way, it's interesting how Pixar made a better Watchmen and Fantastic Four movie than Zack Snyder and Marvel. And they had like 3 attempts. But let's not get distracted. As a result, the movie came out after 9/11, and now we can consider it as a metaphor on American society. The main character doesn't need to live in constant nostalgia of the glory days. He is creating these glory days. Just like we moved past the end of history and started to create new narratives. That's it for today's video. Thank you for watching it, and remember, be a goldfish, be curious, not judgmental.